All right, well, let's go over the plan for the week. So we'll first talk about the SPX, right? You guys all know I was waiting for this one to get hit. We talked about this. Well, I gotta move over here. We talked on this downtrend. We hit it, and we've been going sideways this whole time for past 2 weeks almost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So a little short, pretty much 2 trading weeks. So we only trade for 5 days, so a little more between this $50 range here. Finally, seem to have gotten some kind of breakout, but if it doesn't break out, came up to this pretty much resistance level, which is 3,900. We'll move this up right here, 3,900 resistance level. I still think we have some ways to go. We have a really strong bullish candle. This was due to I believe it was on Friday, we had the job report numbers being positive for the markets. It means that unemployment is going higher, which is bullish for the market, because if unemployment goes higher, it means that the Feds can chill out with their increase of the interest rates, and then less interest rates, the market is happy, more people can take out loans and buy fucking stocks. So that's what hedge funds like to do. So we had a strong candle. I'm still looking for this to test this range right here between 360, really around right here, 360 to 4,000 maybe. So that's the ultimate target that I've had for this push higher after my target of 3,800 was hit on this one here. So I'm looking for this two to come up somewhere in this range. If I take it on the rectangle, somewhere around there. That's what I'm looking for. Again, I don't trade off of this early wave counts, but it kind of does give me a market structure to follow. For example, like we had the topping here with the C here formed, and then I was expecting us to tank, and we did. Then with one here, I'm like, okay, this should be somewhat of a temporary bottom, and which it was a little hard to time the calls. If let's say you got weekly calls or the bounce, that's what I don't like to use the trading, but it gives me the idea of like, okay, I'm looking for bullish plays in this coming weeks, or that's kind of what I'm going to be leaning towards. And that's why if you go look at some of the callouts I made last week, they were more bullish than they were bearish. Especially on Friday, I only had bullish calls, luckily, and I didn't try to catch any rejections, unlike some other people in the chat. So yeah, I'm looking for this push over here on the two. So I do think we still have some room up. Of course, 3,900 is a resistance level. As you can see, 1, 2, almost support here, close enough. And now we're seeming to have some rejection on it. I would like us to retest to this the beginning of the week, maybe something like right here, and then retest the top of this range. Again, this is the level that we couldn't break above, which was this 3,880 to 3,870 area right here. So I'd like to us to maybe potentially come up and come to 3,950. This would be the next level of resistance until that $400 zone, somewhere like this. Somewhere in there, you can raise this up a little bit. Somewhere in there, so come and retest this 3,935 area, and potentially maybe have another pullback, and then finish it up with that 4,000 push. Again, it's gonna be as easy as 1, 2, 3, but that's kind of what I'm looking at with those. And then come down and go look for new lows. So I also want to talk about the Dow real quick, which I don't all the time. So the Dow has actually been stronger than the S&P 500, and again, it held this trend line here, very strong resistance. Even when you had that rally, the S&P 500 was rolling, the Dow was much I and I do think I'm leaning towards the Dow more than likely has probably bottomed out for the most part. I wouldn't be shocked if it has a new low, but I am leaning towards this probably the bottom for the Dow. Now, just because it's bottom of the Dow, the S&P can still go lower actually. So so the Dow's I'm probably gonna be looking at that a little more often than I usually do, just because the stocks in it have been extremely have been more resilient and stronger than the S&P and the Nasdaq, for example. Even the sell-off, the Dow was only down from the high you only went down around 5 to 6%. Now it's only down to about 3%. Well, if we look at S&P from the highs, was down about 8.5, and then we look at the Nasdaq was down about 12.5%. So again, the stocks in Dow have been resilient. I think we'll probably have a new low somewhere around this $3,400 area, somewhere in here, maybe even lower. That's the kind of like the long-term prediction, but I don't think the Dow is gonna get that low as well. I think it's gonna set a higher low, while the S&P and the Nasdaq potentially making lower lows, and that should be kind of like the end of it. Or that's what I've been leaning towards. Then we'll adjust our plan as time goes by. We'll see what's up. But for the current targets for next week, I would like to see a retest of this $38.75 area right here to then set up a higher low and then finally push higher. This will be a retest of this breakout level, and then hopefully break above this 3900 with strength and hold above it for the next target, which is 3930, 3950 eventually at some point. So that's with the overall market. So I guess I'm feeling bullish for the week, if that's what you're asking me. We'll look at the weekly candle. This weekly candle is very strong too. You can see here, we had these two dojis on this decision, and now we're getting that strong candle up. Next up, let's talk about Tesla. Of course, you guys know I love to trade Tesla. Go to daily. Of course, that's like extremely beaten up. I had a strong day last week. I was looking for his 100.2 zone. It didn't give me that bounce. I could have taken this breakout at 105, which we did talk about in the pre-market stream with the masterclass. I didn't take it, so I did miss out a little bit, but we had a bullish engulfing candle on this Tesla. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit and remove the drawings. So I would like to see a rebound for this to somewhere around this $120 area for a push there, and then potentially look for a rejection play somewhere in there. So right around this $120 area, somewhere in there. This is a previous kind of consolidation zone, whatever you want to call it, and then see how it reacts from there. Potentially could even go as far as 124.05. This is the last high. So I'm going to be looking for continuation up there, and then see it hopefully take a rejection. If you want to hold strong Tesla, let's say it wants to have a higher low and kind of have bottomed higher, then it will probably somewhere retest this $115 area, which is currently wasn't able to close above. So I'll be looking for something like this, push above this, and either bounce on it or go lower. And if you probably break this lower, more likely you're going somewhere like the $60 range with Tesla at some point. But for now, the short-term price action, that's kind of what we're looking for. Maybe even some kind of, maybe some kind of falling wedge, something like this. Also kind of forming. We'll have to see if we break this about trend line, and if we do get about this 115, I'll be looking for some calls to around that $120 area. That'd be kind of like the play that I'll be looking for with Tesla. Again, also taking a look at S&P 500, take a look at the Nasdaq as the triple Qs, see what they're doing, see if they're breaking out or not. Talk about Tesla. Next up, let's talk about Apple. Apple is a stock that we actually traded on Friday, and it was a really nice play. With Apple, we have a strong level of resistance at 130. Is that what I actually have talked about before? Even gave a couple of rejection plays, and again, rejecting off 130. I'm looking for a breakout above this. If we break above this, then we potentially move to 134. If the market is weak next week, then we can look for a potential short. The short will be to around 137.4, and then potentially lower if you go there. Apple market mover. So depending on the direction of Apple next week, could very well be also the direction of the whole S&P 500. So I'm gonna keep an eye on Apple. Look for the major area of resistance at 130 and see how we react from that. If you can see the 130, we can also probably bring it out all the way to here, which was the lows from the June lows that Apple had, and finally broken below that. Amazon. Let's talk about Microsoft for a second, then we'll go over Amazon real quick. Microsoft. This was a trade that we actually in the masterclass we broke down. Buy level here at 220. Some people took it. Looks pretty good for a swing. I would like to see this come up to around this $228, $230 area, and see if we get some rejection, potential rejection play there, to then come down, retest 225 again, and then push higher. If the market is resilient, market is strong, look for rejection at the bottom of this gap at 233. And if it is super strong, then look for a move into this gap all the way to 236. 37. A lot of stocks have been filling their gaps. We saw Meta fully fill their gap last week. We see Netflix fully fill their gap next week, so it wouldn't be out of the questions if the market is resilient, the market is strong, for Microsoft to fill some of those gaps that it had. Now, if it gets to around this 227, its weakness, then you probably see it retest these lows here, 220, and potentially retest the October lows that it had. Next up, let's talk about Amazon. Amazon one that I liked the day before it had this massive green candle for the retest of this little falling wedge that they had. I didn't take it because the market was very weak, so we just let it be. The next day bounced up and had a really strong candle all the way to 87. 87 has some strong resistance. Needs to get over this little bit of triple top that it has here from the bottom of this November lows that it had and broke below. Now it needs to flip it and find it with strength. Also, it's a small gap here all the way. No, it's not a gap. My bad. Is that a gap? No, it's not. Yeah, it's not a gap. But I would like just to see it push a little higher and short somewhere around this $88 level if the market is strong. This could be a potential short level right here, but a more confident and more strong short level will be around this $88 level. Then push it and then look for the higher low, and then maybe it wants to push it again, or if it doesn't, it's just going to go lower. Also interesting with Apple, if you're on the weekly chart, you're almost, you can see this is where you get your bounce here from this 220 consolidation here. You can probably draw this, something like that. This is where you get your bounce from. If this breaks below, these are the COVID lows, which is pretty interesting. It wasn't that far from there. That could have been a nice. I'm not a huge fan of Apple, but that would have probably been a pretty nice L level, just 70% less than would have been these COVID lows, and as well as these 2018 lows, which a lot of you guys probably weren't trading. We had a very short bear market here for who remembers this 2018 lows and then this 2020 lows. To get somewhere in there, that would be a really nice level for some of those long-term portfolios. Then again, I told you guys I was looking at some of the stocks with the Dow, right? I'm looking at CAT, and CAT is something that we've some people like to trade, especially Donna's like to trade. I never really been a huge fan of CAT. Not that I don't like it, just I never really found a ton of opportunities with it. Maybe it's because I don't look at it enough. But it's finally broken out these highs here, these May 2021 highs. Again, some of these stocks have been extremely weak, but some of those Dow stocks have been extremely strong. Look at CAT, huge candle on this weekly time frame. I would like it to see a retest this breakout level right here, 245 for potential swing, and then continuation higher. I'll give the opportunity here. This is on a weekly time frame, so if you can see on the daily, this looks even better. Give a couple opportunities there. Gapped up and was really strong, so maybe potentially you can see some kind of move to 245 to 242 somewhere right near. Get the bounce up, consolidation, and another push higher. So it's something I'll be looking at. Potentially from move to 250 to 52. Next up, let's talk about Walmart. Walmart has been relatively strong, not as strong as CAT, but again, broke above this resistance level it had here at 145 and now pushing 146.78. Given opportunity of retest of 145.8 to 145 would be a really nice add for potentially take a swing, or at least just day trade to around this $150 area. Right here, potentially even higher to 152.62. It just needs to give some of that retest. But I will point out with Walmart, there is a potential, it's going to happen, but there is a potential that we got to be aware of the head and shoulder here forming. So we're going to have to see if this low here gets broken above or it doesn't. And then if we test this trend line, how are we going to react to this trend line? Are we going to break it below? And if we do, potentially look for a move down to $136 level. I guess we'll look at the DXY real quick. Here's no negative correlation with DXY with S&P 500. DXY daily, look at this daily candle. You had this falling wedge kind of breakout, and you look like you were breaking out above this major resistance here, but you fell just short. You broke above and trapped all the I guess in this case would be the bears of the S&P 500, or the bulls of the DXY, and came right below. When this happens, this is very bearish in this case, but I guess bullish because we're talking about the DXY. So whatever you want to call it, it's technically very bearish because you had a fake move and you trapped a bunch of people and you bring it down. We saw IWM do something very similar when it topped off in the market earlier last year. So this is very bearish. Again, if we have this major level right here, 103.7, that has been holding, as you guys can see, just this whole level right here. right here, you have this major level here. If this 103.8, 103.7, or we need to see a break, close, and hold. A couple times you went below it, but you quickly got bought up on the daily time frame. You need to hold below, and if you do, more likely you're gonna go to 103.4, and then even lower to around 102.5, somewhere in there, and who knows, can go lower to 101.4. This will be very bullish for S&P 500 for stocks, so it's something that we do gotta keep an eye on, and I do like to look at with market. Uh, that kind of covers a lot of things I'm watching. I guess the overall market conditions. Um, so yeah, I mean, do we have? Is there any questions or anything we should look at, or something that you want me to look over, or something maybe you're watching and you want a second opinion on?
Can you just go over your trades on Friday? How you knew it was going to be so bullish?
My trades on Friday. So the main reason why, so I took two trades on Friday. One was the spike calls with a breakout level, with a breakout level around this. No, sorry, I didn't trade breakout. I mentioned a breakout. I didn't take it on Friday. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to trade as much as I would have liked. By major resistance 380, we had the bull. This was the pre-market, right? So with the pre-market, what you have to look at is, we had a strong move here. So I don't normally draw this, but I'm expecting, like, let's say you have a move up here, right? You have that 0.786 level and that 0.618 level. Those are going to be some kind of a bounce level, even up here to this these two levels right here, right? So I'm aware that, like, hey, we had a move up in the pre-market, we had positive news. I'm looking for a retracement, get a bounce play, get in, and kind of play the trend, right? Also had some confluence here, 380, just a solid support level. Has been this whole sideways kind of action last 2 weeks. And we also had this yellow dotted line. This yellow dotted line is the previous day close. So I had a major support. I actually had support here, 382. I tried to take this bounce quick, got stopped out on it, which was fine, because then eventually came down to this 380, and then with some fib levels. So I was looking for the reversal sign. We got this reversal candle right here looking. I got in and entered, took some profits, 381.1, took some more profits right here at this level. And then when we got to this level, you guys see we had this triple top, and I mentioned it to the masterclass. I was like, don't short this. This looks a little too strong. When you looking for rejection, if you hit the level and you don't sell off right away, more than likely you're gonna break above, and it's not really in a setup play. It's not really a really safe play, especially if you're on PDT. You can take a bunch of trades. So you guys see here, you touch it, and you quickly sell off. Here you touch it, you just quickly sell off. Here you touched it, and we weren't selling off. So I was told the masterclass, like, don't short this. More than likely you're gonna break above. And again, you formed some kind of bull flag and you kept going for the day. 3D5 was a nice retest level too, but at that time I wasn't trading anymore. And also another thing with this is the more time you test the level, the more likely you are to break above, and you want to kind of set the again. You had the bullish news, so you try not to short major resistance levels unless a lot of things are lining up. And here, not a lot of things are lining up. Yes, you had a triple top, but other than that, there wasn't much else that was lining up for a short position. So yeah, so I was feeling bullish for the day. Then Apple, somewhat of a similar, but I think your question is more, again, Apple. We bought somewhere around. I waited for a little more confirmation with Apple. The reason being, the reason being, as already long SPY. No, I don't want to over leverage myself in one direction. So we bought this retest of 125.8. After you get that bounce, you got a confirmation with higher low. Then we took some profits here. We had another higher low, and we continued trending up. We took some profits at 108, and then eventually 129, and we're all still holding some for a swing. So, but the main reason I think what you're asking me is more why was I bullish overall? Again, it goes back to me understanding the market structure that I'm looking at. I'm not saying that I trade with a bias, because I don't. Well, I can do. I do a little bit, but I try to still not think about it too much. But my market bias was like, I'm confident in my skills as a trader that, like, okay, I understand the sell off was happening. Now we're gonna get a rebound. The sell off also ended up with kind of my own price target. And I've been waiting the rebound for the whole week. You just needed, I guess, the catalyst, the news. Consolidation shouldn't be done for the holidays. People don't really trade too much during the holidays. So that to kind of be over, and we finally got a bullish candle for the counter trend push after the falling wedge. The rising wedge that broke down. So I'm gonna be looking now for some continuation to this level, and then look for lower. I think that answers the question.
Yeah, that is just exactly. Yeah, I just noticed you were I think last Sunday very bullish overall, and
Yeah, I was bullish. I know a lot of people were looking for like this breakdown to continue, but it was a little too obvious to me for this breakdown to continue after you already had a 12.5% sell off. So Nvidia. Nvidia, I don't like it as much as some of those other tickers. Again, you still see in this range 141 to 150. You didn't break above when the whole market was really when the whole market was strong. You haven't really been able to break above it. Let me remove these drawings to clean it up. So most of the market was strong. It was breakout range. You still have a hard time 150. What I'm looking at for potentially a rejection of 150, if not a breakout above 150. That's kind of like the only thing I'm looking at with Nvidia again, and then this support here 142. Let's take a look quickly at AMD as well. Indeed, some of the same. You fake this breakdown below this $62 level here. It looked like it probably got down and quickly got bought up. So that's somewhat it's pretty bullish, I guess, because you broke below. You know, kind of the same thing that just broke down with a DXY. You break above, and then you got rejected super hardcore. Trap in the bulls. Similar here, trap in the bears. AMD lagging a bit behind. Um, Nvidia, so I'm expecting this to probably be a little stronger through the week than Nvidia because Nvidia was stronger last week. I like this to retest the $66 level, and with Nvidia, I like to see a break above 150 for some continuation up.